Semifinal, heat number 1. Chris Cote here with Pete Mel. We are looking at an evenly matched duo of surfers. One, Kanoa Igarashi from right here in Huntington Beach, California, and Filipe Toledo, who's had a lot of success here in the past.
We had this rivalry, and then, Court seemed to have that greater success on this stage, and she's won CTs, and so, she's been really inspiring to me, and also just an amazing friend at the same time. And that heat was pretty gnarly. I was excited again, like the Supergirl. I felt more nerves in that heat. The Supergirl, I had a little bit more fun attitude. This one was like still game time. And
talk about big moments. Pete, what happened?
Well, let's take a look back at the Championship Tour event in Rio, and this exact same scenario happens. Both these two going for the same wave at the beginning of the heat with no priority, and they collide. What's going to happen now? I mean, there was a complete contact. Generally, that means there's going to be an interference. Now, interference rule says whoever is closest to the peak in the point of takeoff, and they're going to have to make this. Where does the wave break?
Wow, and usually, you can sometimes kind of decide when the surfer stands up first, but right there, that was milliseconds.
Really, yeah, and even I'll tell you right now that it doesn't matter who stands up first. It's who's positioned in the middle of the peak, who is closest to the peak and has right of way. Was it a left or a right? It was a peak, but who is center in the peak? And
Let's take a look. Kanoa Igarashi. Here he's spinning, so this angle a little bit from down the beach.
Where's the center of the peak? Kanoa wants to go left. It really feels like that Filipe backdoored it again. I mean, that's just by looking at it. I'm sure the judges are having a review as well.
Well, this is, obviously this will swing the heat in one of these surfers' favor.
So where does the wave break first? Where's the center of the peak? It looks to me it's down the south end, right? It's moving that way. There's a shoulder tapering off. The wave breaks. And it looked like Kanoa had position. I mean, of course, you want to set up from behind it. I mean, that's how you do it. And there's a good straight-on view. Where's the center of the peak? To me, it's pretty clear. I believe only half their second score.
Judgment is in. Filipe Toledo getting the interference. So now where do we go from here, Pete?
He can hear it right now, and he understands.
Well, that wave goes from a 6.33 to now you see on this line an INT. And here goes Kanoa Igarashi. By no means getting a free pass into the finals. Toledo's still going to make this tough for Kanoa, but definitely things got a lot clearer for Kanoa Igarashi.
He still has to surf this heat, though. Long time for this decision to go out.
So right there, you see, this is the last wave from Kanoa Igarashi, really his first wave ridden.
And again, so, he has to just shake that off and get to surfing. And I love that Kanoa seems to me that he's done that. He's not going to let that beginning of the heat to affect him, and he's not going to make any mistakes. Again, chucking the fins out, exactly what he's been, a definite hamper, but it's doable, especially in consistent conditions.
And if anybody can do it, it's this guy, Filipe Toledo. Snap out the back. Ever the showman, Toledo will make his way to the inside. Gaining speed through the flats. Now pushing up into the air. Blows the tail, whips it around, reverts out.
Well, he's still going to be a showman. You can appreciate that.
And here, let's take a look at the last wave for Filipe Toledo.
Bangs it off the top. Again, that outside move so important. Filipe does it with ease. Not an easy section, not a lot of power to it, but he gets the board up and over and even gets a little flare with the fins out the back. And then just no problem for the inside section. It goes for the air. Just pushes the fins out to push the board around.
Here we go again. Toledo on the inside goes for the head high front three. Goes down, but I love the intentions that we have here.
Have half the score there. Boom, almost did it. So even though he had the 6.3
lineup with Kanoa Igarashi, live action Toledo with an interference still has the chance to fight through this heat. He's got 16.5 minutes to do it. And here we go, the windup. The Cobra is coiling, strikes, goes to the air. Comes down clean, front three, revert out, boom, Toledo on the board.
This is the kind of surfing that this kid with the reins off can do. Beautiful first turn, gets the revert out of it. Nice speed carried out of that maneuver, no hitches whatsoever. Doesn't have to work very hard to get to this inside section. And look at what he does on this inside section. Picks up a ton of speed and pops it around once again. So now that innovation and progression portion of the criteria, so easily attained by Filipe. And, again, that make ratio.
A duel, two surfers in the lineup now. Kanoa Igarashi fighting to regain the lead, blowing the tail in his opening turn. Now redirecting through to this inside section. He's got to make this crucial transfer from the outside through to the shore break. And here we go. The windup is coming. Igarashi straight up into the lip with purpose, with the malice.
Great riding backwards. So look, a good size wave here, almost head high. Straight into the first turn. Drifts backwards, does not go into complete revert, and gets the roundhouse cutback. Easy transition to the shore break. And then he has to do something pretty big here, and he does. He gets the board up into the lip and pulls it down. It's exactly what he needed to do.
He just went down right before that wave. Toledo.
And he's got that same type of rotation so dialed in. You know, the thing about it is Filipe is going to have to produce the biggest numbers of the day if at least Kanoa can get 12 points on the board. And there, boom, all the way around. I mean, that to me is still best wave of the heat.
The benchmark, but he's got an anchor on him.
Well,
the interference.
All we do is we see live action. He's there doing it again, riding backwards.
This is right off that last wave from Kanoa Igarashi. As Toledo now going to the inside, settles for a big snap. The knives are out. We've got a heat. More. Here's another look at the replay of Toledo's giant 8.33. Here we go. The score's dropping for Igarashi. A 6.83. It's enough.
Ooh, by the skin of his chinny chin chin. But now look at the score needed by Filipe.
All right, needing a 7.85. Can Toledo do it? 10 seconds to go. He's going to need something massive on this inside section. Pumping down the line, generating speed. One turn up in the lip. He's gonna need a big finish here. Toledo, big tail free snap. Well, I think this is gonna be I don't want to say easy call for the judges, but he was gonna need something crazy.
Pretty special. I mean, he's got a comparison, right? The 8.33, he had the outside maneuver where he did the air reverse, and then he did the air reverse on the inside as well. You see, that was the end of the heat. Just not enough here. But I like the fight from Filipe, and I also love the sportsmanship in which he showed at the end of it. Came in at a 5.43. So Kanoa Igarashi, first final at the Vans US Open of Surfing.
Igarashi, the tactical dismantling of the event favorite. Toledo will make his way in, and we're heading to semifinal number 2. You're watching the Vans US Open of Surfing. More action to come.